When I was starting out, one of the things that I heard from other filmmakers and photographers was that you should rent gear. And I never really understood that. We're not really explained why that actually matters. When you're renting gear, it's not just an opportunity to scale up your production. It's an investment in a relationship and building a better creative community and ultimately impacting your clients' projects from the best perspective. Full transparency, I rented in the past from different online vendors and I was burnt more than I was actually satisfied with the renting services. And a lot of that is because they were just gauged at really renting gear and you had to kind of be the expert yourself. For me, when renting actually changed to where I saw the full value of it was when I connected with Ohio HD in Gahanna, Ohio. First time I rented with them, it was just a totally different experience. I walked in the door, I was greeted by Scott Handel, and it just felt like what I want in every business relationship, which is a relationship. And that was almost intoxicating if I'm being totally honest. At the start of it, it was really that I was just supporting other projects and I was spending other people's rental budgets. Shortly after, I decided, hey, I actually want to open up a direct relationship with these guys. For me, that was kind of the game changer. Once we started renting from Ohio HD, I almost felt like I fast forward 5 years ahead in my career. Not just because they offer great products, but their attitude and their focus on education and supporting their community was basically what I needed. It's hard when you're a filmmaker and you're going through this stuff and you can look at items, you can do all the research online, you can watch all the YouTube videos, but until you actually get your hands on something, until you get one set and you start to see problems arise or you have to troubleshoot something, you don't really know how to use that piece of gear. Ohio HD is they were really there to help educate their customers. Then they knew that their customers would actually rent that equipment. It's nice to be able to have a resource that I could come in, talk to them and feel not ignorant. They just treat you with like, hey, we want the best for you, and we understand that if we provide you with great resources, education, and try these things out, it's going to make your project better. And if your projects are good, your clients are going to be happy, and if your clients are going to be happy, then you're going to keep coming back and you're going to keep renting. It was nice to have that attitude at the front end, but I still don't think it helps us all the time with being able to sell these things. The selling part, I think, really comes from being comfortable with the gear that you're going to rent and understanding how it's going to impact your production. When you're looking at it, especially a client, I think it's easy for them to say, well, why do we got to rent this gear? Why don't you have everything? Perceived value is if I can rent $20,000 worth of equipment for $500, I'm adding so much more value to your project for such a low investment. What is the problem that we're trying to solve? And here's the tools that it takes to actually solve that problem. We can do it this way or we can do it that way. Giving your clients enough information to make that educated decision, but also you being informed enough to make that decision. And that's where the relationship piece really comes into play with your rental house. There have been a lot of pivotal moments in JCP's career where we could not have achieved those creative goals had we not had the guidance of Ohio HD. Outside of going to them as a service provider and asking them, hey, can you rent me this camera, this lens, or whatever, it's so much healthier to go in and say, hey, this is who I am, these are the types of projects that I do, and I feel like I'm struggling in these areas and here's what I'm interested in. And that's kind of the approach we took. And luckily Scott and David and the rest of his crew have just been so helpful with helping us solve those problems and asking us the right questions that we don't even have sometimes to be able to help our clients solve their problems. Just a chain effect. It's like looking at your rental house as not just a rental house, but a production partner, someone who helps us solve problems so I don't have to think about this stuff all the time. That's been another side of this, is it frees up so much time to where I can ask them a question and I can come in and I can look at things. We had this kind of complex lighting arrangement one time, and what I thought was impossible to do, within an hour they set me on my way with the gear that I needed, and it was so much simpler to do because they walked me through the setup and showed me how to do it. Previous to that 1 hour, it would have taken me years to figure out on my own. But the way that they break it down and they explained it to me, making me feel comfortable with that, them having all those tools and being able to literally see them and put them on different cameras, it's allowed us to aesthetically reach a lot more of our goals for our clients, which makes us the heroes at the end of the day. It allows you to solve problems so much quicker, it saves you time, scales your productions up, and for me, it just feels like in the last 5 years, we've progressed 10, 20 years ahead of what I would have ever expected in this short period of time. That wouldn't have been possible without a great rental house like Ohio HD. If you're in the Ohio area, I highly recommend that you check these guys out, you build a relationship with them, you get to know them. If you're not in the area, I just encourage in general, you should be reaching out to your rental houses, finding places nearby and building those relationships, because it's so much more than gear. It really is about building things together and building a healthier community. And I'm so grateful that I have something like that in my back pocket. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, do all the stuff that I always tell you to do. And I hope that this was a good video. Thanks.